Welcome to the Locks and Dogs NFL Picks Podcast, Week 13 edition. We've got the NFL locks and a few dogs that you need to hear, and the podcast starts right now. This is Matt. Welcome back to the Locks and Dogs, Week 13, lucky Week 13. Mark, a.k.a. the king of Week 12. All hail the king. I'm looking at this sheet, and I only see one miss on here under your name. You literally hit every. If you took Mark's advice and only Mark's advice last week, you would have missed one game, and hit on everything else. The only we both whiffed on the Lions. Like we didn't see the Packers showing up on Thanksgiving. Mark, Your Majesty, the floor is yours. What do you have to say about Week 12?
I am the king of Thanksgiving. What you've heard is true. You weren't too shabby yourself. You hit on. We both missed on the Lions. Between the two of us, the Lions pick was the only one that we missed.
Let's see. I'm counting 9 winners, so that means I think 6 losers. So you had literally 14 winners here, 1 loser. That's amazing. You literally cannot do any better. I mean, I guess you could have. I've never seen anybody get 14 out of 15 against the spread. That's super sharp level stuff right there, my friend.
Keep listening to the show, folks.
Yeah.
We have,
or we've peaked and it's all downhill from here, and you need to fade us from here on out.
Yeah.
Either way, you ready to dive into Week 13?
Yes.
Okay. All right. First up, our Thursday night football game: Seahawks at Cowboys. Cowboys minus 8.5. Over under at 46.5. The early bets here: 85% of the bets ATS are on the Cowboys. 56% of the bets are on the under. And 98% of the money line bets are on the Cowboys. Mark, what are you doing on Thursday night?
Well, Thursday nights, as you know, I typically go with the home team, and nobody's been better at home than the Cowboys.
Yep.
So far this year. They've been blowing out opponents at home. I think you probably easily lock this up. Give me the Cowboys minus 8.5. Should also be worth noting that Geno Smith has been looked pretty banged up.
He shouldn't have started on Thanksgiving. Honestly, that was from watching the first half. Like, he got better in the second half, but watching him in the first half, he looked like a guy who should not be out there. Like he didn't look like he was capable of executing an NFL level offense. And I don't know what they saw in warmups if he looked better when he was just tossing it around. I think at that point I would rather have a healthy Drew Lock than a diminished Geno Smith at that point. He should not have been out there, in my opinion. I didn't think he should have been playing. Based on what I saw in the first half. I thought he was borderline dangerous based on what I saw. All right, so yeah, he's still banged up. If he started last week, I'm assuming they're going to run him out there this week. They must really hate Drew Lock, which, okay, is understandable. I guess the question is, we know the Cowboys are the bum slayer. Are the Seahawks a bum team?
Yes.
6-5?
They'll be 6-6 by the end of it. They're an average team. They were slightly above average last year in getting that wild card spot. Yeah. The Cowboys are just too good.
Wow.
That defense is too good.
Yeah, honestly, I'm with you. I'm not going to lock it, but I do look at the Cowboys minus 8.5. If I'm honest, I'm kind of interested in that under.
Yeah.
So, either way, yeah, Cowboys minus 8.5 is the play that I'm on. All right. Next up on the list. Next up, the Sunday noon slate. First game on the list, Cardinals at Steelers. Steelers minus 5.5, over under at 41. Numbers here are 74% of the bets on the spread on the Cardinals, 53% of the bets on the under, and 70% of the money line bets on the Steelers. Give me the points and the Cardinals. I think 5.5 is. I don't trust the Steelers team laying points to just. If this is like flipped and the Steelers were dogs, I'd be all about it. But I don't trust the Steelers laying points. I don't think they can score. I've yet to see that offense look like a professional NFL caliber offense capable of putting up more than 17 points in a game. I think the Cardinals can score. I don't think they're going to win outright, but I do think I think the back door is going to be wide open for this one. If I'm honest, this is probably knowing how bad the Steelers' offense is, this is probably like a field goal game. Okay, if it's a field goal game, give me the 5.5. Mark, what say you?
I'm going with the Steelers minus 5.5. The logic that I've used all year applies here as well. As Mike Tomlin at home usually delivers. The Steelers got a bit of a bump after firing their offensive coordinator the week before. It's also worth noting that Pat Freiermuth was back in the mix also last week and had.
How many points did they score?
16.
Did they break 20?
No.
That's what I have to say about that.
No, they didn't. But yeah, I like the Steelers. Again, Tomlin at home, them getting new life on offense by firing the offensive coordinator, getting Pat Freiermuth back, I think should be enough to...
And Deontay Johnson blocking? I'm sorry.
I think that should be enough to keep the Cardinals at bay.
Okay. All right. Give me the Cardinals. I'm sorry. I cannot lay points with the Steelers team. If it was like 1.5, okay, Steelers. 5.5, too many points. No, give me the Cardinals plus the 5.5. Maybe my dog for the week. I'm not sure. Next up, Falcons at Jets. Falcons minus 2.5. Over under at 34. The early bets on this one, 57% of the bets on the spread are on the Jets, 50-50 split on the total, and 66% of the money line bets coming on the Falcons. Okay, what are you doing with this one?
Going with the Falcons minus 2.5. The Falcons are using the recipe that the Jets should be using, is that they have, a mediocre quarterback but an excellent run game, and they rely heavily on that run game, and that's gotten them a few victories so far this year. I think that, again, based on what we saw last week, against the Dolphins, the Jets just look completely pathetic. That Hail Mary pick six, the guy running down the field, running 100 yards down the field to return that.
Well, yeah, all the skill guys were behind him.
Yeah.
So there was nobody fast. It was a lineman and Tim Boyle. I'm sorry. It was all the linemen and Tim Boyle. There was nobody else to catch him.
Yeah. I think that pretty much summed up the 2023 Jets right there. I think these are two bum-ass teams. The Jets are the bigger bum.
Okay. Now, the Falcons look fantastic this past... Well, I might say they look good at home against the Saints. The defense showed up and showed out. They did enough with the offense to kind of, take the air out of the ball and, get the dub. I can't take the Falcons on the road. And I especially can't take the Falcons on the road if they're laying points. Give me the Jets. It's a plus 2.5. Is that what we said it is?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a feeling this line's going to change as we get closer to game time. So watch out for some closing line value. If this gets the Jets plus 4, which is where I think it's probably going to head, I'd look to jump on that closer to game time. That being said, we pick these at the lines we have. I want the Jets as the home dog. I think that defense will do enough to get the win. And again, I see this as a one-score game. And if that's the case, I want the home team plus the points. Yeah, I don't love Tim Boyle. I do like the Jets defense. I think they show up in front of that home crowd. I think their pride was hurt last week. They got embarrassed a bit. So, you've got a team that has a really mediocre quarterback coming in. And I kind of like this as a bounce back spot for the Jets. Not that I love Tim Boyle or I love this Jets offense. I think they can run the ball against the Falcons.
See, my problem was I've been hanging on to the Jets all year, thinking that Zach Wilson was gonna, somehow turn the corner or somehow they were going to use the running game.
You see, and now that you're out, I'm in. That's the thought process. Again, it's I just think this is a good home spot for the Jets, and I do not trust the Falcons on the road laying points. It's the inverse of the Steelers and Cardinals. Okay, next up on the list, we got Dolphins at Commanders. Dolphins minus 9.5, over under at 50.5. Bets on this one, 81% of the bets against the spread are on the Dolphins. Again, 50-50 split on the over-under, and 95% of the money line bets coming in on the Dolphins. I do think there's a case. Okay, this is 9.5 points. It's a lot to lay for a non-conference road spot. That being said, I can't think of two teams that have like a wider. Actually, that's not true. I think Dolphins and Panthers probably have Eagles and Panthers probably have a wider disparity. But this is two teams that have a really wide disparity in terms of talent levels. This is a case where I'll take the 9.5 points. I haven't seen enough out of the Commanders to be willing to take them against a playoff team at any point level, especially 9.5 points. I'll lay the 9.5. I think the Dolphins win by more than 10. This is probably like a 2-touchdown win in my mind. If this gets out of hand, there's a non-zero chance that the Commanders could fire Ron Rivera after this game.
Yeah, that's possible.
Mark, what say you?
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with the Dolphins minus 9.5. Basically the same logic applies. The Commanders have not looked good on the road or at home. And the Dolphins are just too high powered.
They just got wrecked on Thanksgiving Day too. So I mean, I guess you get mini bye to kind of bounce back and lick your wounds. But I just even at home I don't like this spot for the Commanders.
Yeah,
give me the Dolphins. Next up on the list we've got Chargers at Patriots. Chargers -6, over under at 40. That's ambitious. Is that still? You can still get that number. Okay. All right. Early numbers on this one. 79% of the bets against the spread coming in on the Chargers. 93% of the bets coming into the under. And 88% of the bets on the money line on the Chargers. So it's West Coast to East Coast, which we don't love. But it's the Pats. If there's a team that hates, I think other than the Steelers, I think that the Patriots are probably the one team that hates everybody. Everybody on that team hates each other. I can't take the Pats even with 6 points. I mean, they just lost to the Giants outright in a game in which they were getting which they were laying 4.5. Now you're going to lay 6 against the Chargers. I don't see the calculus here. Mark, what say you?
I'm on the Patriots plus 6.
Okay, convince me. Talk me through this in excruciating detail, please. What's the thought process?
So it's Patriots at home.
Okay.
Granted, the Patriots have not looked good in recent weeks. I think this is a bounce back spot for the Patriots against the Chargers. Really, my logic here, it comes down to coaching. I mean, you have Bill Belichick against one of the more questionable coaches coaching today, and Brandon Staley and the Chargers. So that's really what it's coming down to. I mean, obviously, I think we've said all year that the Chargers. I think the Chargers roster has some really good players on it, and that the whole year they've performed below expectations. But yeah, I think the Patriots bounce back on this.
I feel like this is a kitchen sink spot for the Chargers coming off the loss to the Ravens. If they lose this, they fall to 4-8, and your chances of the playoffs are pretty much done. If they win this, I feel like they're still in the hunt. So, and the Pats are 2-9. That's a dead ass team going nowhere. I don't see the Pats getting up for this game. I do see that. I think the Chargers are able to get up for this game a bit more. That being said, I think Brandon Staley's probably fired whether they win this or lose this. At the end of the season, not right now. But either way, I'll take the Chargers. I don't love it. I'm probably not going to bet it. Actually, let me take that back. I would bet my mortgage on the under in this game. The Chargers are not a high-powered offense, and the Patriots cannot score. Whether it's Bailey Zappi or whether it's Mac Jones, I really don't care. I don't think they've committed, or even if it's Malik Cunningham, I really don't care. I can't take this bad offense. I'm taking the better offense. I think the Chargers can score enough to get the job done, and I think this is kind of a kitchen sink game for them where they have to win this to keep their season alive. So I'll go with the Chargers. I'm not betting it, I don't think, but I am betting the under all day. That's way too many points for this game. There's no way they get near 40. Next up on my list, we've got Lions at Saints. Lions -4. Over 46 is the point total. The early numbers on this one: 88% of the spread bets on the Lions, 73% of the bets coming in the over, and 92% of the bets are coming on the money line are coming in the Lions. Both of these teams coming off losses. Lions lost at home to the Packers. Saints lost on the road to the Falcons. What are you doing here, Mark?
I like the Lions -4. The Saints, Derek Carr has looked not good so far this year.
Rough, yeah.
I like the Saints at home, but I do see this as more of a bounce back spot for the Lions. They really should have. Well, they didn't, but I felt that they were the more talented team against the Packers at home for that Thanksgiving matchup. Surprised the spread isn't more. 4 points seems like these two teams are a bit evenly matched, and I don't know that they are. I think the Lions are a much better team than the Saints, so give me the Lions -4.
I mean, yeah. I mean, honestly, I can't take the Saints at this point. They're 5-6, and they've looked they've looked mediocre every week we've sat down and watched them. I think this is a bounce back spot for the Lions because they have something to bounce back to, and I think they cover the 4 even on the road. I think their offense is they can run the ball and they can sling it. A little bit worried about the Jared Goff turnovers. I think that might be the angle that the books are playing is that Jared, he was a bit careless with the ball against the Packers. I have a feeling that they can clean that up with the running game. Just all you have to do is hand it off to Jahmyr Gibbs, hand it off to David Montgomery. They're coming off the mini bye with the Thursday game. So I like this as a spot for the Lions to bounce back in. I like the 4. Let's go. Next up on the list, Broncos at Texans. Line on this guy, we've got Texans minus 3.5, over under 47.5. The early bets, 72% of the bets on the spread coming on the Texans, 64% of the bets coming on the over, and 86% of the money line bets coming in on the Texans. We just spent a few minutes talking about how great a job Sean Payton's doing with the Broncos. Broncos been on a bit of a tear. They're 6-5 straight up, 4-6-1 ATS. Same record as the Texans. What are you doing here? And why are you taking the Broncos?
I'm going with the Broncos plus 3.5. I mean, look, the past couple of weeks, the Broncos defense has looked really good. They're getting turnovers, and Russell Wilson he's become Russell Wilson again. He's running around in circles. He's throwing touchdowns.
Yeah, this is a functional team. I mean, if you look up and down that roster, like it's not. It's representative NFL players at like every position, more or less. I'd like to see a bit more out of their ground game, but if you look up and down that roster, it's representative. It's an NFL team, and they're starting to buy in. Is what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Is that last year it was just a mess, a disaster on all fronts, and now they're back to buying in. And I was thinking about this last night. Like, I can't, like, when things are going bad, I can't imagine a more irritating guy than Russ Wilson as the quarterback. But now that things are going good, I think they'd be a bit more willing to put up with his nonsense. So, yeah, I'm with you on this one. Give me the 3.5. Let's go Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, the Texans have looked good all year. I think this Broncos defense might be a bit too much for C.J. Stroud to handle.
I agree. So, either way, yeah, plus 3.5, love it. Next on the list, we've got Colts at Titans. Colts laying 1, over under 42.5. Early numbers here, 74% of the bets on the spread coming in the Colts, 50-50 split on the over-under bets, and 65% of the bets on the money line coming in the Titans. Tighten up. I'm kind of buying into the Colts. I think their offense is functional. I've always kind of I like that defense. I think I think they're capable. They can stop teams. And I'm not sold on this Titans team at all. I just don't see. I think Will Levis is a bit of. I think at quarterback, no matter who they have back there, is a bit of a liability. Supposedly Ryan Tannehill has got a clean bill of health. He's still not starting. They're going with Will Levis from here on out. Good for them. I'm not betting on Will Levis. Give me the Gardner Minshew Colts. Let's go. I'll lay the 1. I think they win it outright. Obviously, in fumbling points, they're going to win it outright, but even still.
Well, it should be noted that Jonathan Taylor, they announced this morning, is going to have thumb surgery. So he'll be out a minimum of 2 weeks. They're debating on whether or not putting him on IR, but he won't be available for this game.
They got Zach Moss.
Yeah. But yeah, the Titans were a team that, going into the season, we thought we would do a lot better than they have. And the Colts were a team that, we thought would do a lot worse than they currently have. And, I think ultimately, I think the talent on the Colts roster is probably beats the Titans, even on the road.
I think it's just I understand how the Colts offense functions. I understand, the run first team that, is capable of completing a pass to any one of its, solid receivers, whether it's Pittman, Downs, you name, they got that, Grayson tight end, they kind of like a little bit. But either way, they've got weapons that they can use, and they seem to have a philosophy on how they want to run it. The Titans should be following that philosophy where it's ground and pound, run first. They've just not been able to put it together. I've not been able to. They're outside my circle of trust for teams I'm willing to bet on. So give me the Colts, lay the 1. Let's go. That does it for the early slate. On to the late afternoon. First on my list is Panthers at Buccaneers. We got the Bucs laying 5.5, over under 37. All right. Again, we also, they just fired their coach. They've got the weird interim guy who just fired 2 assistants for reasons. Give me the Buccaneers. The Panthers are a mess. I think you just get rid of your quarterback's coach, and I think your running back's coach, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
So I think preparation is going to be lacking for that Panthers offense. I don't see them. They weren't functional before they fired Frank Reich. I don't see them being functional after they fire. I don't think there's going to be improvement. So give me the Buccaneers to win at home. I think it's going to be a laugher. I think they win by 20. We should know that Baker is a bit banged up. He had the MRI in the ankle, came back negative, Baker should be good to go.
Yeah.
So if it's not Baker, who's their backup?
Kyle Trask. He came in last week when Baker.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for like 2 plays.
Yeah.
And even still, play the 5.5. Let's go. What say you?
Yeah, I like the Bucs here, particularly at home against a really bad Panthers team. Instead of firing their head coach, really what they should have done is, sat down Bryce Young and put in Andy Dalton as their starter. I think they probably have a much better chance of winning with Andy Dalton than they do with Bryce Young.
Honestly, if you're looking to win, that's the move. I mean,
no. I don't see Chris Tabor as being a better leader of men than
maybe he is. Maybe
Frank
he's
Reich.
Who knows? Who knows? So either way, I think Panthers are a mess. Lay the 5. I can't see a reason to take them plus 5.5.
No.
All right, next heavyweight matchup. Next up, 49ers at Eagles. 49ers -3 is the line. Over under 46.5. Bets on this one. 76% of the bets in the spread coming on the 49ers. 67% of the bets coming on the over. And 82% of the money line bets coming on the 49ers. Mark, what are you doing here?
Fly, Eagles, fly. Give me the Eagles +3 as a home dog. Can I make my lock and my dog both the Eagles? Can I do that?
You can do whatever it's Mark. It's our show. We do whatever we want here.
I like the Eagles here. The reason being, again, it's a road game for the 49ers.
Okay.
If the Eagles are wearing the Kelly Green jerseys, it's an automatic lock for me. We've seen the 49ers look mortal at times during the course of the season.
We've seen the Eagles look mortal as well. Do you remember who they lost to?
Was it Jets?
Yes.
Yeah. That being said, it's probably the best game of the week. Probably be the most entertaining game of the week.
This is heavyweight match. I'm on the 49ers. I'm laying the 3. Okay. And I'll tell you why. All right. This is the 3rd straight heavyweight title fight that the Eagles have had. First, you had to go into Arrowhead, hostile territory, win that game. Okay. You would think the letdown spot would come against the Bills the following week. It almost did. Okay. They got out of that game. They took it to overtime. Pat on the back, great win, big emotional dump with the home crowd. Love it. There's got to be a letdown spot. Every team gets hit with a letdown spot. And the 49ers, again, are going to come out and punch them in the mouth. Okay, that defense is not going to bend the way the Bills' defense was willing to bend. And I think that 49ers offense can do enough to take the air out of the ball when they get it back so that the Eagles aren't going to have those second chances that the Bills gave them again and again. I think you've had 2 super emotional games for the Eagles back to back. I think they could, I think it'll be close in the first half, but I think at some point it's got to take a toll on that locker room. And I think it's going to be the second half of this game. You're going to see the 49ers start to pull away. You're going to see Christian McCaffrey pick up kind of grind out a nice long drive for the 49ers. You're going to see Brock Purdy revenge spot also. This is where he broke his elbow. This is where they tried to kill him.
Yeah.
Remember? And then they tried to kill Josh Johnson and Brock Purdy with one arm to come back in the game.
Yeah.
Give me the 49ers and the Brock Purdy revenge spot. I think they get up for this game. They've had they had the mini bye with the Thanksgiving Day game. I like this spot for the 49ers. I like this Eagles team. Funny story in the Eagles this past week. The line, it did the opposite of what I thought it was going to do. I thought you were going to see more money coming in on the Eagles. It was the opposite. More money came in the Bills, and the line shrank. Yeah. So I jumped down to 2.5, and I got the cover. However, if you had taken the Bills early in the week when it was 3.5 or 4, you also would have covered. So I guess technically I was on both correct spots. If you think about it, either way. Yes, I'm in the 49ers. This might be my lock. Okay. Next up on the list, Browns at Rams. Rams -3.5. Over under 39.5. Early action on this one, 57% of the bets in the spread coming in the Rams, 90% of the bets in the under, and 66% of the bets in the money line coming in on the Rams. Mark, where do you start with this one? Browns at Rams.
Yeah, I'm going with the Browns plus 3.5. Really torn about this one. It should be noted that it appears that they're going back to PJ Walker as their starting QB in this game.
DTR's in the concussion protocol.
Yeah. I don't really think either of these teams are all that great. The Rams, again, a very talented roster that's underperformed all year.
They've had so many issues at the quarterback position that it's kind of amazing that they are 7-4. With the ongoing Deshaun Watson saga to, the PJ Walker and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And Joe Flacco
waiting in the wings.
Waiting in the wings. Just give Joe a chance. That's all we're saying. If it was Joe Flacco, would you bet on the Browns?
Well, I am betting on the Browns.
Oh, that's right.
But I'd feel better about it.
You'd feel okay. I'd feel better about it. Give me the Rams. I'll take them at home. Lay the 3.5. I don't feel great about it. I think I kind of see this as like a 20-10 game. I don't trust the Browns to be able to score, and I think the Rams can do enough on offense. They have Kyron Williams back in the fold. Okay, I think they can do enough on offense to get this win at home. I'll lay the 3.5. It's also it's I guess you'd say like it's not really East Coast, but it's like Eastern time zone to West. So you got that factor, which I don't like on the road. Give me the Rams. I'll take the 3.5. All right, small slate for the afternoon. Next up, Sunday Night Football. Chiefs at Packers. Chiefs minus 6.5. Over under here is at 42. Early action, 64% of the spread bets coming in on the Packers, 86% of the bets in the under, like that, and 96% of the bets on the money line coming in on the Chiefs. Okay, so you've got the Packers coming off the big win against the Lions. I guess I don't think that was necessarily their Super Bowl, but I hate to say it was kind of close to it.
Yeah, it's as close as they're going to
get. Oh, wow. Bang, bang. And you get the Chiefs, who had the Raiders on the road last week. Kind of a bounce back spot for them. I thought the Raiders were going to cover that spread. They did not cover that spread. Chiefs won. I believe they won by at least 2 touchdowns. So not only that, I think the Chiefs look kind of broken in the first half. They seem to figure things out in the second half. Mm-hmm. I kind of like that to carry over into this week. I think Pat Mahomes gets up for the national TV spot. I'm on the Chiefs. I'll lay the 6.5. We saw the Packers have probably the best game that they're going to play against the Lions. Divisional rival on Thanksgiving Day. A chance to kind of stick your thumb in the eye of a Lions team that was, just didn't seem all that well prepared, which was odd to me. Jared Goff was kind of all over the place, and they had a couple bizarre calls. I think they had the weird fake punt. I think this is a bit of a letdown spot for the Packers. Give me the Chiefs. I think they're in kind of FU mode from here on out. After losing to the Eagles, they got something to prove now. So give me the Chiefs. Lay the 6.5. What say you?
I'm going with the Chiefs minus 6.5. I really see the Packers win against the Lions last week as an outlier overall for the season for the Packers. Yeah, the Chiefs so far this year seem to have gotten off to slow starts. Within about halfway through the game, they like most good teams do, they make adjustments and wind up winning. So yeah, give me the Chiefs minus 6.5.
Okay. All right, next brings us to Monday Night Football. Bengals at your Jaguars. Jaguars minus 8.5. Over under 38.5. I kind of like that over. Early numbers on this one: 80% of the bets coming in on the Jaguars, 97% of the bets coming in the under, and 76% of the money line bets on the Jaguars. What are you doing on Monday night, and why are you taking the Jaguars?
Going with the Jaguars minus 8.5.
That's so many points.
It is.
Okay, so what's the thought process with the Jaguars here?
I like the Jaguars here. Not crazy about the points. Ultimately, I'm using the same logic that I used last week, is that I ultimately like the weapons more on the Jaguars. The Bengals, they do have A.J. McCarron on their roster backing up. So it looks like they're not going with A.J. McCarron as a starter. You have to remember, A.J. McCarron, he did get reps. Was it in the XFL this year? Or the USFL?
XFL. I believe he's an XFL, multiple year XFL All-Star.
Yeah. So he's someone that, they did have extensive playing experience earlier in the year. I don't know why he has history with the Bengals. He was a backup for them for several years prior to this. I'm kind of surprised they didn't go with him. Had they started A.J. McCarron, I might flip on this.
Oh, yeah.
I like the Jaguars' weapons here. Give me the Jaguars minus 8.5.
Okay. I'm on the Bengals plus 8.5. And I'll tell you why. Okay. I was not offended by what I saw out of Jake Browning last week. I think he's a representative backup quarterback. I think he's probably better than A.J. McCarron. I don't know where the A.J. McCarron. I mean, if you use it, if it was Alex Magoo, league MVP in waiting. The uncrowned comeback player of the year, Alex Magoo. Jake Browning is a representative NFL quarterback. I feel that he showed enough to me in that game. He He didn't go out and Dobbs it up, is what I mean. He didn't throw 4 interceptions and look awful. He looked like he knew how to run the offense. And the Bengals, they've got enough weapons on that team where I think they should be able to score enough to keep it close. I love this one for a backdoor cover. I do think the Jags win outright. I don't think they cover the 8.5. I think this is probably. I think probably win by 6. Give me the 8.5. Let's go. All those bettors at minus 400 on the money line are probably going to make a profit. Congratulations. So Mark, we need locks and dogs. Who went first last week? Was it me or you? I think it was me.
Yeah, so I'm going first this week.
You're going first this week.
So my lock this week.
Are you doing the Eagles, lock and dog?
No.
Okay. Good.
Give me the Dolphins minus 9.5.
As your lock?
Yes.
Okay. And your dog?
My dog, I like a home dog with the Eagles, plus 3.
All right. My lock. Give me the Cowboys minus 8.5. I'll lock up the Cowboys. And my dog, give me the Broncos plus 3.5. Sprinkle the money line. Bonus lock, 49ers minus 3.
Wow.
Bonus dog, Bengals plus 8.5. Let's put a bow on it. This has been the Locks and Dogs podcast for week 13 of the NFL season. Check out locksanddogs.com for the latest in gambling picks and news. Hit that subscribe button to get notifications for the latest episodes. And please leave us a review if you have time. We'd appreciate it. If you could give us 5 stars, we'd love it. But we would also just love to have the engagement, love to have the feedback. If there's anything we can do better, anything we can do worse, please let us know. For Locks and Dogs, this is Matt.
This is Mark.
He's the king of week 12, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll see you next week.